garden hose we have tied to our clothesline. This is tough. We should have named him Henri. Quit. Leave that alone. You quit picking on me. Quit. Go play. There he is. Here's Chloe. Mother piss out of me. And I'm Bruce, and this is Tough Dog's Place. Quit! God! So I'm making my motor mounts, and I've drilled 3 holes in the end of each end of this pipe tube that this 3/8 nut fits inside. And then what I'll do is I'll plug weld it with a washer on there, and with a washer on there, and then I can tap it and make sure it's seated properly. And I've drilled the holes close enough to the end that there's no weld going to get past and get on any of the threads anywhere, so I don't have to worry about burrs and slag and splatter. And then after I do that, I will make my mark and use my hole saw and cut a hole wherever I want it to make my fish mouth, and then I'll be able to clean that up and weld it to another pipe. I've measured from where my hole saw cut is going to be to the other end of the exact length I need, so that when I make my hole saw cut, I'll actually be creating 2 pieces with 1 cut. This end will be for the front, and this end will be for the back, and of course there's 2 of them, 1 for each side. So and I've drilled my holes in both ends of everything. Now I'm going to put my nuts in there and weld them, and after I do that, then I'll cut my hole, clean it up, and they'll be done. It'd just be easier, I think, right now to handle, because that little 3/4 inch piece right here is going to be really hard to do anything with once I get it that short. It's going to be hard to hold in the vise, it's going to be hard to weld, it's going to be hard to grind. So yeah, I'm going to weld my nuts in there before I cut my holes. There they are, welded in all their gruesome ugliness, and just going to let them cool and then clean them up. I did go ahead and put a index mark with the drill on them where the hole saw needs to start, so I didn't lose that with the slag and the cleaning up of the slag. I made a nice little divot there so I could find it without having to remeasure and refigure and all that. So anyway, they look like little dog biscuits. Just gotta let them cool and clean them up, and they'll be ready to cut in half, and then they'll be done. Clean the ends up. Yep. Okay, so here they are cleaned up somewhat. You just gotta cut them with the hole saw and then clean up those angles, and they'll be ready to weld into place. Yeah. There's what it looks like right after cutting. That's one end, that's the other, and this is the little nugget that comes out of the center that you don't actually use this for anything. But it is an interesting looking piece. All kinds of funny angles on it. Good and hot too. Those are nice little trinkets. I don't know. Creative man might be able to do something with them. But anyway, that's the whole process. You got to hang it out over the edge of the little vise so that it has somewhere to go. And then it just cuts right. Doggone it. Cuts right through it. Anyway, I'll I'll have to fish that other one out of that little cup it fell into. Anyway, there's one of them. Oh, it didn't look like it was perfectly centered, does it? It's okay. That's okay. It'll be alright. Gonna give you guys a quick peek at what this looks and sounds like. And they say to go just fast enough that you see a constant flow of chips. It is. You know, looks like deja vu, doesn't it? Seems like we were just there a moment ago. Okay, anyway, there's that process. Now you just got to clean them up and they'll be ready to go. Well, there's the whole set. The 2 stretchers, the 4 motor mount posts, and what's nice about it is even though they look like they were offset when they cut, they both mirrored each other. So when one was offset, the other was too. So all you can do is turn them the same direction and it'll be the same. See what I mean? And they'll fit on there like that. After I get the stretchers in place, and I'll weld them on there, and Bob's your uncle. Yeah. So, what we have here is the plate that I'm going to use for the actual motor mount. I've marked it off square, 10 inches long, it's 5 inches wide, and I'll cut that off, clean it up, and then mark out my 4 corner holes where it'll bolt onto those riser stubs that I just made. Yeah. Well, there's the mounting plate with the first set of holes in it for actually mounting it to the bike. I still got to put the holes in it for the motor block. And man, I just want to say, whoever invented those step drills, I love that guy, man. It's like you never have a dull drill bit, and it countersinks the holes right while you're drilling them. You don't have to change bits. I just love that, man. Titanium coated, Harbor Freight. You get a set of 3 of them for like $8. It's like, what? I saw Fearless Front went to a tractor show here a while back, him and Jake from Mud King, and they were all excited because he bought one for $12. One bit for $12 when you can get 3 at Harbor for $8. Sorry, Fearless. Anyway, I gotta measure this out and drill them holes. We'll get back. You see how I got this pattern for the bottom of the motor? an old cereal box. Save one. Put it out in your shop. Cut the side of it out. Turn it inside out. Put a thin coat of oil on the bottom of your motor, which I didn't have to do that because I already had oil on it. And just set it on there. Trace around the corners. And when you lift it up, you'll have an imprint of where the holes go. Now, you see the pencil rings there. That's because I took a washer and set it there and drew a circle on it before I lost them for some reason. And I also draw a mark from the outsides so I know that they're square. But anyway, yeah, it's a good way to make a quick template. I'll just cut that out with my box knife, and I'll use my straight edge to get the line straight to where it's square, and I'll poke a hole right in the center of these holes, and once I get this centered on the plate, I can center punch the drill points with my countersink, not my countersink, but my hole punch, starter punch, and presto, I'll be good to go. Nice and easy. Alright, see what you see there is the motor mount plate done and in place. I still have to take these apart and cut the ends and cut the headstock angles. But what I wanted to show you here is what I've been working on, and give you a little better look at that so you can get a good idea of what's happening here. See how that works? Sorry, I got distracted. I forgot where I was at. Anyway, this is propped up. These fish mouths are mating. None of this is welded. It's all just sitting in there by the sheer force of the fitment. Anyway, I just wanted to show you. Yeah, I got the mounting plate all drilled, just bolted on there. Got these drilled and tapped and put in there. Yeah, I ran a tap down through the bolts that I welded and a die over a tap in the nuts and a die over the bolts, just because the heat from welding them always distorts everything, and just so they just screw in smoothly. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what I've been up to and what the goal was, and that's the whole idea, is to get that motor at an angle so that the torque converter would not be hitting the chain. Now this is a lot bigger gap than I had envisioned. I don't know how I got so far away. I only wanted like a finger's width. But this is okay too, because this will make sure that my chain can come out from under this, out from under here and go down without hitting the swing arm and to the bottom of the rear sprocket. So that's okay, that's good. And I'm liking it. Now I got to disassemble. I can just set the motor off to the side, but I got to disassemble the bottom rails, cut my angles to where it'll fit the swing arm, and cut my angles for up at the headstock for the headstock, and then I can begin welding this all together. I was having issues with the clearance from the hardtail clearing the back of the motor, and so what I have decided to do, rather than rebuild the axle plates again, I'm going to modify them slightly, just give it a little bit more of a severe angle right here, which will raise, instead of a 30, it'll be a 35-degree angle, which will give it more height, which will help me to clear my backbone, to clear the top of the motor. That's the plan. Whether or not it all comes together was yet to be seen. But that's what it is. We're still doing fireworks. Yeah. I like it. And then of course to level the motor up so the carburetor flow works good, we'll just make the forks push the front end of the whole machine upwards a little bit. And whatever it takes to make it work. Okay? Okay. Alright. So that's what's up with that for today, guys. And I don't know if I'll get any more today or not. I'm going to keep working on it, but if anything new comes about, I'll show you. Alright. It's about to get dark here, and I just want to show you how far I got. I've got my stretchers that I was showing you. Got them in place and tack welded. I have my headstock in place and tack welded. It's true, it's 90 degrees this way and 60. I was going for 60, and right now it shows that it is at 60. Okay, and I've also tack welded it to the swing arm. I got these sheared off at the angles to meet that, and yeah. So, and now it's hard to see. It's getting dark, and I'm not doing a close-up because it's nothing but yucky old spot welds. But anyway, you get the idea. So tomorrow in the daylight, when I can see better, I think you may remember me saying that I don't like to weld in the nighttime because I have a hard enough time seeing my puddle and everything, you know, my wire and where I'm going with it before I pull the trigger and all those kind of things. So in an effort to try to make good, solid, strong welds, I prefer to do it in good daylight so I can see what I'm actually doing. And yeah, I'll come back and finish welding all them up and work on that swing arm. I'll have to flip it over, grind that hole out for the brake assembly. I've decided that I'm going to refine that rear axle. Instead of a 30 degree, I'm going to go with a 35. That'll give me a little bit more height coming up on the hardtail to get over the motor, especially now that those blocks I made for the motor are bigger than I had anticipated. It's going to have even more clearance issues. But with the headstock being as long as it is, that's 9 inches of headstock. That will raise that backbone bar up quite a bit and give me some tolerances there. But yeah, okay, that's where I'm at, and just want to share with you what's going along with the, I've been calling it the Greasy Rider bike, you know, and well, let's face it, Greasy Rider is just silly. And since I'm doing a Springer front end and a Springer seat, I think I'm going to call it the Springer bike. And I don't want to hear any Jerry Springer jokes, because they're not funny. Anyway, the Springer bike, yeah. So, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for viewing, thanks for tuning in, thanks for being there. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you later. Alright? Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.